In the frigid expanse of the Arctic, where the sun barely grazed the horizon during the endless winter months, the research base stood resolute against the biting cold. It was April 17, 2025, and the crew of the Arctic Exploration and Research Institute had been stationed there for weeks, their focus laser-sharp on studying the effects of climate change on the polar ice caps. The isolation of the location was palpable, with the nearest settlement hundreds of miles away, rendered nearly unreachable by the treacherous ice flows and shifting weather patterns. Yet, it was this very remoteness that made it an ideal location for groundbreaking research. At least, that was the intent. On that particular day, a routine dive was scheduled, a practice the team had grown accustomed to in their quest for knowledge. Clad in thick, insulated suits, Dr. Ilara Quinn, the lead scientist of the expedition, prepared her gear, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The glacial waters were known to hold secrets, and she had always felt an inexplicable connection to the icy depths, a legacy from her late father, who had explored these same waters decades before. As she descended into the blue abyss, the world above faded into silence, replaced by the rhythmic sound of her own heartbeat and the bubbles escaping her regulator. The underwater landscape was surreal, a frozen kingdom of ethereal beauty. Icicles hung like chandeliers from the ceilings of submerged caves, and schools of fish darted through the crystal-clear water, their scales catching glimmers of light. Ilara maneuvered expertly, her mind attuned to the mission at hand, yet her thoughts were often drawn to the stories her father had shared. Tales of ancient civilizations, of lost relics buried under layers of ice, waiting to be discovered. As she swam deeper, the ambient light began to shift, a strange pulsation beckoning her closer. There, nestled against the ice, was a shape that defied explanation. It was an object, partially buried but unmistakably geometric, its surface glowing softly, a blue hue radiating from its core. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. This was no mere geological formation. It was something crafted, something alive in its own right, something not of this world. She could feel its energy, a low hum reverberating through the water, as if it were calling out to her. Ilara signaled her team, her movements frantic but precise. Marcus, the skeptical engineer, was the first to respond, his brow furrowed beneath the thick visor of his helmet. "What have you found, Ilara?" he asked, his voice crackling through the communication device. "A ship, I think! A real ship!" she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. "It's glowing, and it feels alive!" The team quickly gathered around her, their eyes widening in disbelief. Lena, the empathetic psychologist, reached out toward the shimmering object, her breath quickening. "It's beautiful," she murmured, almost reverently. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension tinged with fear and awe. They were in uncharted territory, and while curiosity thrummed in their veins, a lurking fear whispered that they were trespassing on something sacred. As they hovered near the ship, the glowing intensified, casting a brilliant light that danced across the ice and illuminated their faces. The ship seemed to respond to their presence, pulsating in rhythm with their heartbeats. Ilara felt a surge of emotion wash over her, one she couldn't quite place. Was it wonder, or was it something deeper, more primal? The connection felt almost personal, as if the ship recognized them, understood their intentions, and was awakening from a long slumber. Time seemed to stretch as they floated in this moment of discovery. But their reverie was abruptly shattered by the sound of distant engines cutting through the silence. The military presence had arrived, soldiers in heavy gear marching toward the site, their breath visible in the icy air. The team exchanged anxious glances, the weight of their discovery suddenly overshadowed by the fear of containment. "Okay, everyone, we need to get back to the surface," Marcus said, his voice steady but edged with urgency. "We can't let them take control of this, not yet." Ilara's heart raced. "We can't just leave it here. We have to study it, understand what it is." Lena placed a hand on Ilara's shoulder, her eyes wide with concern. Ilara, you know how the military operates. They'll want to secure the area and enforce secrecy. We need to be careful. As they ascended, the glow of the ship faded, retreating into the depths of the ice, leaving Ilara with a gnawing sense of loss. The moment was fleeting, but it had ignited a fire within her that she couldn't ignore. Her father had spent his life chasing mysteries like this, and now it was her turn to unlock the secrets that lay beneath the ice. Back on the surface, the tension in the air was thick as the military personnel established a perimeter around the site. The commanding officer, a stern-faced woman named Colonel Harris, approached the team, her eyes scanning them with a mixture of suspicion and authority. "What did you find down there?" she demanded. "A potential artifact, ma'am," Marcus replied cautiously, his engineer's instincts kicking in. "We believe it may be a—" "Artifact," Colonel Harris interrupted sharply. "This isn't an archaeological dig. We need to secure this area immediately. No one goes near that object without clearance." Ilara felt a surge of frustration. "But we need to study it. This could be a major scientific breakthrough. We can't just let it sit here while we wait for your orders." The colonel's gaze hardened. "You'll do as you're told, Dr. Quinn. This is a military operation now." The chilling reality of their situation settled over the team like a heavy fog. They had stumbled upon something potentially revolutionary, yet they were now at the mercy of those who prioritized security over discovery. Ilara's mind raced, torn between the desire to protect her team and the overwhelming need to understand what lay beneath the ice. That night, as the cold wind howled outside the research base, Ilara found it hard to sleep. She lay in her bunk, thoughts swirling like the snow outside. Memories of her father flooded back, his passion for exploration, the stories he had shared, the way he had urged her to seek the truth no matter the cost. She felt an undeniable connection to his legacy, a promise to continue what he had started. The next day, the atmosphere was charged with uncertainty. The military had cordoned off the area, and scientists were forced to remain at a distance, their hands tied by protocol. Ilara and her team huddled in the lab, poring over the data they had collected during the dive. "What if we could find a way to communicate with it?" Lena suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. "If it's responding to us, maybe we can reach out." Marcus shook his head, skepticism etched on his face. "We can't even get close enough. The military won't allow it, and we don't know what kind of power it possesses. We need to be cautious." But Ilara could feel the pull of the ship, a magnetic force drawing her closer. It was as if the very essence of the object resonated with her, whispering secrets only she could hear. She was determined to uncover the truth, to honor her father's memory by pushing the boundaries of human understanding. As the days dragged on, the tension between the scientists and the military escalated. The colonel's orders were strict, and every attempt by the team to gather more information was met with resistance. Just when hope seemed all but lost, the ship beneath the ice began to react once more. The vibrations intensified, echoes rippling through the ice, reverberating in the very marrow of their bones. Ilara felt a rush of excitement mixed with fear, the energy from the ship reaching out, intertwining with her emotions. She had to act, and she had to act fast. Gathering her team, Ilara made a bold decision. "We need to go back down there. We can't let this opportunity slip away. I need to understand what it wants." Marcus hesitated, torn between his loyalty to Ilara and his fear of the consequences. "But what if it's dangerous?" "Then we'll face it together," she replied, her voice steady. "But if we don't try, we'll never know what we might be able to learn." With that, they prepared for another dive, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Ilara led the way, her mind focused on the glowing ship. As they descended into the depths once more, she could feel the energy pulsing around them, a beacon in the darkness. The moment they reached the ship, it responded, the glow flaring to life, illuminating the water in a breathtaking display. Ilara's breath caught as she reached out, her fingers brushing against the surface. It felt warm, alive, and she could sense it reaching back, a connection forged in that instant. "Can you feel that?" she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Lena nodded, her eyes wide with amazement. "It's like it knows us." In that moment, everything changed. The ship was not just an object. It was a vessel of consciousness, waiting for the right moment to awaken. And as Ilara stood before it, the weight of her discovery settled upon her like a mantle, igniting a fire within her that could not be extinguished. Here, beneath the ice, lay the key to understanding not just the cosmos, but the very essence of humanity itself. As Ilara stood mesmerized by the glowing ship, her heart raced with a cocktail of excitement and trepidation. The hum of the object reverberated through her body like a heartbeat. It was a sound both foreign and comforting, like a lullaby sung through the ages. Lena's incredulous expression mirrored her own as they both felt the electric connection that seemed to pulsate between them and the ship. It was as if the vessel was awakening, recognizing them as much as they were recognizing it. "Everyone, come here!" Ilara called out, her voice cutting through the cold water like a beacon, urging her team to witness the extraordinary. As the rest of the crew swam closer, their eyes widened in disbelief, the reality of their discovery dawning upon them. Marcus, the skeptical engineer, swam to the forefront, his brow furrowed with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. "What is that?" he questioned, his voice crackling through the communication device. "It looks like a ship, but how is it glowing? This isn't just some wreckage." "It's not wreckage," Ilara insisted, her determination mingling with the awe that enveloped the group. "This is something entirely different. We need to get a closer look." As the team gathered around the undulating glow, the air was thick with the weight of unspoken questions. Each diver felt the magnetic pull of the ship, drawing them in like moths to a flame. The water around them shimmered, reflecting the light in a kaleidoscope of colors, transforming the icy depths into a surreal dreamscape. Dr. Lena Markham, the team's psychologist, observed the growing tension between the scientists' curiosity and the palpable fear emanating from Marcus. "We need to keep our heads," she said calmly, her voice steady despite the thrill in her chest. "This ship could be a breakthrough for humanity, but we must approach it with caution." Marcus shook his head, pushing against the current of excitement. "Caution is an understatement. We have no idea what we're dealing with. The military is already on high alert, and if they catch wind of this, we could lose everything." Ilara shot him a glance, her resolve unwavering. "And if we don't investigate, we might never know what this is. We owe it to ourselves, to science, and to everyone back home to find out the truth." The words hung in the icy water, a silent challenge. The tension in the group escalated as they hovered before the glowing ship, the weight of their decision pressing down like the layers of ice above them. In the depths of their hearts, they all understood the stakes. This was not merely an exploration, it was a potential turning point for humanity. With a deep breath, Ilara signaled for the team to follow her lead. They approached the ship, the cold water around them contrasting sharply with the warmth emanating from the vessel. As they drew closer, the ship seemed to respond, the glow intensifying, illuminating the intricate designs etched into its surface. The craftsmanship was unlike anything they had ever seen, smooth lines and angular shapes that hinted at advanced technology. Suddenly, a low hum reverberated through the water, sending ripples cascading outward. The ship pulsed, and for a moment, everything felt suspended in time. It was as if the ship was alive, aware of their presence, beckoning them to come closer. Ilara reached out again, her fingers brushing against the surface, and a shiver of energy coursed through her, igniting her senses. "Can you feel that?" she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The others nodded, their expressions a mixture of wonder and fear. The ship was more than just a vessel. It was a conduit of connection, bridging the gap between two worlds. As they prepared to enter, a series of vibrations echoed through the hull, resonating with their emotions. It was a sensation that transcended mere technology, as if the ship was attuned to their very souls. Lena looked at Alara, her eyes wide with realization. "It's responding to us," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "Let's see what secrets it holds," Ilara replied, her heart pounding with anticipation. The team worked together to open the hatch, a mechanism that seemed to unlock as they approached, the door sliding aside to reveal an interior bathed in ethereal light. The atmosphere inside was unlike anything they could have imagined. The air was warm and thick with energy, a palpable force that made their skin tingle. The walls shimmered with a soft luminescence, displaying intricate patterns that danced before their eyes. "Stay close," Ilara instructed, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. "We don't know what we're dealing with yet." As they ventured deeper into the ship, they found themselves in a vast chamber, the technology within pulsating in time with their breaths. Holographic displays flickered to life, projecting images of distant galaxies, stars forming and collapsing in a cosmic ballet. The visuals were mesmerizing, yet they held a deeper meaning, hints of humanity's past and future woven into the fabric of the universe. "Look at this!" Marcus exclaimed, pointing to a hologram that depicted a timeline of human history intertwined with celestial events. "It's like it's showing us our place in the cosmos." Ilara stepped closer, captivated by the swirling images. "It's more than just a timeline. It's a connection, a message." Her fingers brushed against the holographic interface, and a surge of images flooded her mind. Moments of joy, sorrow, love, and loss. She felt a connection to something greater, a sense of belonging that resonated deep within her. The ship responded, the lights shifting to reflect the emotional weight of the memories it displayed. A warm glow enveloped the chamber, wrapping around them like a protective embrace. Lita felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes as she witnessed moments of compassion and understanding play out before her. "Do you see this?" Ilara turned to her team, her voice filled with urgency. "It's showing us who we are and what we can become." But as they explored the depths of the ship, a shadow loomed over their discovery. The military presence outside was growing, their vehicles encircling the research base. Ilara's heart sank at the thought of being forced to abandon their exploration. The conflict between the desire for knowledge and the threat of containment was palpable, creating an atmosphere thick with tension. "We need to hurry," Marcus urged, glancing nervously at the hatch. "If they find out what we've discovered, they'll shut us down." "Then we have to make this count," Ilara replied, her voice resolute. She refused to let fear dictate their fate. They had come too far, uncovered too much to turn back now. "We need to understand what this ship is and why it's here." As if sensing their urgency, the ship pulsed again, and a new holographic display emerged, casting vivid colors across the chamber. It depicted a celestial gathering, an assembly of beings from various planets, all united in a common purpose. They shared knowledge, exchanged ideas, and fostered understanding across the vast expanse of the universe. Lena gasped, her heart racing. This is a council. They're showing us that we're part of something much larger." Ilara felt tears welling up in her eyes as she absorbed the weight of the revelation. "They've been watching us, waiting for the right moment to connect. They believe in us." But just as the sense of hope began to bloom, the ship's glow flickered, and the atmosphere shifted. The connection felt strained, as if the ship was sensing the encroaching threat outside. The pulsing rhythm slowed, and a sense of urgency filled the air. "We need to act fast," Marcus said, his voice laced with concern. "If we can't stabilize this connection, we might lose everything." Ilara nodded, her determination sharpening. "Let's focus on the core of the ship. If we can understand its purpose, we might be able to communicate with it more effectively." The team moved deeper into the ship, the walls humming with energy as they followed Ilara's lead. Each step felt monumental, weighing heavily with the knowledge of the risks they faced. But as they pushed forward, they could feel the ship responding to their intentions, the glow intensifying with every heartbeat. They reached a chamber at the heart of the ship, a vast space filled with crystalline structures that shimmered with a light that seemed to come from within. The air vibrated with a resonance that resonated deep within their chests, a call to connect, to understand, to embrace the unknown. Ilara stepped forward, her heart racing, awed by the beauty surrounding her. This is where we can truly connect. As she reached out to touch one of the crystalline structures, the ship responded in a rush of light and sound, enveloping them in a cocoon of warmth. The walls pulsed gently, and the images of the council re-emerged, now clearer and more vivid than before. The beings shared a message, an invitation to join them in their quest for understanding and compassion. In that moment, Ilara felt the weight of her past, the loss of her father, the longing for connection, and the hope for a better future. She poured her heart into the moment, allowing her emotions to flow freely, and the ship resonated with her, responding to her unspoken desires. "Please," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Help us understand. We're ready." The ship shuddered, and the energy surged around them, a powerful wave of connection that transcended language and understanding. In that instant, they were no longer just scientists. They were a part of something greater, a bridge between worlds, a beacon of hope in the darkness. But as the connection deepened, a siren blared in the distance, cutting through the ethereal atmosphere like a knife. The reality of their situation crashed back down upon them, a jarring reminder of the impending threat outside. Ilara's heart raced, a mixture of fear and determination igniting within her. "Stay focused," she urged her team, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We are not done yet." As the military's presence loomed ever closer, the team stood at the precipice of discovery, caught between the awe of their findings and the looming threat of containment. The ship pulsed with energy, as if aware of their plight, and the room filled with a resounding hum, an invitation to embrace the unknown, to step into the future. They were on the brink of a revelation that could change everything, but they needed to act fast. The clock was ticking, and the fate of their discovery hung in the balance. The hum grew louder, resonating through the metallic walls of the ship, filling the air with an energy that felt almost alive. Ilara's heart raced with a mix of exhilaration and fear. As the light pulsed in rhythm with the ship's vibrations, she felt a deep connection forming, as if the vessel was reaching out to them, inviting them to understand its purpose. The team huddled together, their faces illuminated by the otherworldly glow, each of them aware of the weight of the moment. "Can you feel that?" Lena whispered, her voice barely above the hum. She looked at Ilara, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like it's aware of us." "Yes," Ilara replied, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "It's responding to us. We need to find out why." Marcus, standing slightly apart from the group, crossed his arms, skepticism etched on his face. "Or it could be reacting to the fact that we're intruding. We don't know what this thing is capable of." His words hung heavily in the air, a reminder of the danger they faced. The military's presence outside was a stark contrast to the awe-inspiring discovery inside. Ilara turned to Marcus, feeling the tension between them. "We can't back down now. We've come too far. We owe it to ourselves and to humanity to understand what this ship is." Marcus opened his mouth to respond, but before he could speak, the ship pulsed again, brighter this time, and a holographic interface flickered to life in front of them. The image projected was mesmerizing, a swirling array of colors and shapes that coalesced into recognizable forms. It showed ancient civilizations, scenes of human connection, and moments of profound compassion. "What is this?" Lena gasped, stepping closer, her hand reaching out to touch the shimmering display. "It's showing us our history," Alara breathed, captivated by the unfolding images. "It's like it's trying to communicate." The ship's hum shifted, becoming a melodic resonance that filled the chamber. As the images danced before them, Ilara felt a wave of emotions wash over her, memories of her father's explorations surfacing unbidden. She remembered the stories he told her about the Arctic, about the beauty and fragility of life in such a harsh environment. Those stories had always inspired her, igniting a passion for discovery that spurred her into her own career as a scientist. "Look!" Lena pointed, her eyes sparkling with tears. "It's showing moments of love and kindness throughout human history. It's beautiful." But Marcus's voice cut through the moment, tinged with urgency. "This is incredible, but we need to be cautious. We still don't know what it wants." The ship pulsed again, the images flickering, and for a brief moment, Ilara could have sworn she saw her own reflection in the holographic display. The face staring back at her was not just hers. It was a mirror of humanity's collective essence, the joy, the pain, the yearning for connection. She felt a deep longing to reach out, to touch the light, to understand the ship's purpose. "Maybe it's not just a ship," she thought aloud. "Maybe it's a bridge, a way to connect with something greater than ourselves." The atmosphere in the chamber shifted, and the hum intensified, as if the ship recognized her words. Ilara took a step forward, her heart racing. What if it's been waiting for us to understand? What if it's here to guide us? As she spoke, the ship responded, the colors swirling faster, depicting scenes of humanity's struggles and triumphs, wars, peace treaties, moments of unity and division. Each image was a testament to the complexity of their existence, and Ilara felt the weight of their shared history pressing upon her. "It's like it's telling us a story," Lena said, her voice barely a whisper. "A story of who we are." "But it's also a warning," Marcus interjected. "We need to remember the darker sides of our history. We can't ignore our capacity for destruction." Ilara nodded, recognizing the truth in his words. "But we can learn from it. This ship, it's not just a relic of the past. It's a reminder of what we're capable of, both good and bad." Suddenly, the ship pulsed violently, and the holographic display flickered, showing a chaotic scene of destruction. Buildings crumbled, fires raged, and Ilara felt a visceral pain in her heart as she witnessed the darker moments of humanity's history. "What is it trying to tell us?" she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. The ship's energy surged around them, and she sensed a growing urgency. In that instant, the room filled with a blinding light, and the hum reached a crescendo. The ship's consciousness awakened fully, and Ilara felt a deep connection. The ship was not just a vessel, but a living entity that had been waiting for this moment. It had been observing humanity for eons, waiting for the right time to reveal itself. "Listen!" Lena exclaimed, her eyes wide as she focused on the pulsating core of the ship. "It's communicating." The light enveloped them, and Ilara felt an overwhelming wave of emotion wash over her. It was as if the ship was sharing its thoughts, its understanding, and its hopes for humanity. In that moment, she understood. The ship was not a threat, but a guide, a beacon of hope designed to help them navigate the complexities of their existence. Tears streamed down Ilara's cheeks as she absorbed the ship's message. It was asking for compassion, understanding, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. It was a call to action, urging humanity to rise above its limitations and connect with one another on a deeper level. As the light began to fade, Alara found herself standing in the center of the chamber, surrounded by her team. They were all connected, their hearts beating in unison with the ship's energy. It was a moment of pure empathy, a realization that they were not alone, that they were part of something much larger. The ship's holographic display shifted again, showing scenes of hope, children playing, communities coming together, and acts of kindness that transcended borders. Alara felt a deep sense of purpose awakened within her. "We have to share this," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We have to tell the world what we've discovered." But Marcus's expression turned grave. "What if the military doesn't allow that? They're already on edge. They might see this as a threat." Alara shook her head, her resolve unwavering. "We can't let fear dictate our actions. This is our chance to help humanity understand its potential. We can't keep this a secret." Lena stepped forward, her eyes filled with conviction. "I believe in this. We have to trust that the world is ready to embrace this knowledge." As they stood together, united in their purpose, the ship pulsed gently, as if affirming their decision. It was a moment of solidarity, a testament to their shared commitment to uncovering the truth. But just as they felt a sense of clarity, a loud knock echoed from the entrance of the chamber, shattering the fragile atmosphere. The door swung open, and armed soldiers flooded in, their presence a stark reminder of the conflict brewing outside. "Step away from the ship," barked a commanding officer, his voice laced with authority. "This area is secured. You need to evacuate immediately." Ilara's heart sank as she glanced back at her team, their expressions mirroring her concern. The military had arrived, and the urgency of their discovery was overshadowed by the looming threat of containment. "We have to protect it," Ilara shouted, stepping forward defiantly. "You don't understand what this is." The officer's eyes narrowed. "I don't care what it is. You're in danger, and we need to secure this site, now." Ilara felt a surge of desperation. She couldn't let fear drive them apart, especially not now, not when they were so close to understanding the ship's true purpose. "Listen," she pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. "This ship is not a weapon. It's here to help us. It's been waiting for the right moment to connect with humanity." The soldiers exchanged glances, but the commanding officer remained unmoved. "Your safety is our priority. You need to leave now." Just then, the ship pulsed again, and the air around them crackled with energy. The light flared brightly, and the soldiers took a step back, a flicker of uncertainty crossing their faces. Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the ship's energy coursing through her. "This is our chance," she said, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "We need to show them what the ship can do. We can't let fear dictate our future." With a determined focus, Ilara stepped toward the glowing core of the ship, her heart pounding. She reached out, feeling the warmth of its energy enveloping her. The ship responded, pulsating rhythmically, and the holographic display flared to life once more, casting colorful images of humanity's potential all around them. The soldiers watched in awe as the scenes unfolded, their expressions shifting from skepticism to curiosity. Ilara could feel the ship's connection strengthening, and she knew they were on the precipice of something monumental. "Look," she urged, her voice rising above the chaos. "This is what we can be. This is what we're capable of when we embrace compassion and understanding." As the holographic images danced before them, Ilara felt a surge of hope. She was determined to bridge the gap between fear and understanding, to show the world that they were not alone in this vast universe. In that moment, the ship pulsed one final time, and the light enveloped them completely, merging their spirits with its ancient wisdom. Ilara felt a profound understanding blossom within her, a realization that their journey was just beginning. The discovery beneath the ice was not just a ship. It was an awakening, a mirror reflecting the deepest potential of humanity. And together, they would step into the unknown, ready to embrace the future that awaited them. As the radiant light of the ship enveloped Ilara and her team, the world around them shifted. The air hummed with a low frequency that resonated deep within their bones, a sensation that was as unsettling as it was exhilarating. They stood together at the threshold of the unknown, their hearts racing with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Each member of the team could feel the weight of history pressing down upon them, the enormity of their discovery settling into their consciousness like an ancient secret finally unearthed. Ilara took a step forward, her breath hitching as she crossed the threshold into the ship. The interior was mesmerizing, a vast expanse filled with ethereal lights that danced along the walls like a cosmic aurora. The air shimmered with energy, creating a surreal atmosphere that made her feel simultaneously small and connected to something far greater than herself. She could see intricate symbols etched into the surfaces, pulsating faintly with a rhythm that seemed to sync with her own heartbeat. "Can you feel that?" Lena whispered, her voice barely audible over the soft humming. "It's like it's alive." Marcus, still skeptical, furrowed his brow as he surveyed the surroundings, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. "We need to be careful," he warned, glancing back at the entrance. "We don't know what kind of technology we're dealing with here." But Ilara, driven by an insatiable curiosity, moved deeper into the ship. She reached out to touch one of the symbols, her fingertips brushing against the cool surface. A surge of energy pulsed through her, igniting a spark of understanding. Images flashed before her eyes, scenes of humanity's greatest moments, its triumphs and failures, its capacity for love and destruction. The ship was not merely a vessel, it was a repository of knowledge, a testament to the shared journey of sentient beings throughout the cosmos. "Look at this!" Ilara exclaimed, beckoning her team to join her. A holographic interface sprang to life, casting a soft glow in the dimly lit chamber. The images were vivid and dynamic, each one telling a story that transcended time and space. She could see the rise of civilizations, the beauty of art and music, the bonds of family and friendship. But there were darker moments too, the wars, the pain, the suffering that humanity had endured. "This is incredible," Lena breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's like the ship knows us." As they stood in awe, the ship reacted to their emotions, the holographic images morphing in response to their thoughts and feelings. Ilara felt a connection forming, a bridge between her heart and the essence of the ship. It wasn't just observing them, it was engaging with them, seeking to understand their humanity. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, the lights flickered, and an intense wave of energy surged through the ship, causing the walls to vibrate. The holographic images shifted again, now displaying a series of interconnected symbols that seemed to pulse with urgency. Ilara's heart raced as she sensed the ship awakening, its consciousness reaching out to them. "What's happening?" Marcus shouted, his skepticism giving way to concern. "We need to get out of here." "No," Ilara protested, her voice rising above the chaos. "We can't leave now. We're on the brink of something monumental." But the fear that had taken root in Marcus's heart was palpable, and she could see him wrestling with the decision. The military presence outside, waiting with bated breath, loomed larger in his mind. He was torn between protecting his team and the overwhelming desire to understand this incredible phenomenon. Lena stepped closer to Ilara, her expression resolute. "I think the ship is trying to communicate with us. We need to trust it." Ilara nodded, her determination solidifying. "We can't turn away from this opportunity. We have to see it through." As if in response to their conversation, the ship's energy surged once more, enveloping them in a brilliant light. Ilara felt a rush of emotions, fear, hope, love, all intertwining within her. The air thickened with an electric charge, and she closed her eyes, surrendering to the moment. In that instant, she was transported to a place beyond the confines of time and space, where she felt the weight of the universe pressing against her. Visions flooded her mind, images of distant galaxies, of beings that transcended physical form, of connections forged through compassion and understanding. She understood that the ship had been waiting, observing humanity for eons, preparing for this very moment. It had chosen them, not just as explorers, but as ambassadors of a deeper truth. When Ilara opened her eyes, she found herself standing at the center of a magnificent projection. The walls of the ship shimmered with scenes of humanity's potential, interwoven with glimpses of other civilizations that had reached out across the stars. She saw beings of light, their forms shifting and flowing like water, communicating through emotions rather than words. They reached out with hands of light, offering a connection that transcended language, culture, and time. "This is what we can become," Ilara whispered, her voice trembling with realization. "This is the future we can create." The ship responded, pulsing in sync with her heartbeat, as if it were affirming her statement. The holographic interface shifted again, now displaying a timeline of humanity's choices, each decision branching into endless possibilities. Ilara could see how every act of kindness, every moment of understanding, had the power to change the course of history. Tears streamed down Lena's cheeks as she absorbed the weight of what they were witnessing. "We've been given a chance," she murmured, her voice laced with awe, "a chance to rewrite our story." But just as hope blossomed in their hearts, the atmosphere shifted once again. The ship's energy flickered, and the holographic images began to fade. A sense of urgency filled the chamber, and Ilara realized they were running out of time. The military outside was growing restless, and the fear of the unknown was creeping back into the minds of her team. "Stay focused," Ilara urged, turning to Marcus and Lena. "We need to harness this connection. We have to show the ship that we're ready to embrace its message." The walls around them vibrated, and Ilara reached deep within herself, calling upon her memories of loss and love, of her father's unwavering belief in exploration, of the warmth of human connection. She poured her heart into the ship, hoping it would recognize her sincerity. To her amazement, the ship responded almost instantly. The light intensified, and the holographic interface flared to life once more, projecting vivid images of compassion, people helping one another, communities coming together in times of crisis, the beauty of art and creativity thriving against all odds. Ilara felt a profound sense of unity, as if the ship was mirroring the best aspects of humanity back at them. "We are not just explorers," Ilara said, her voice steady and clear. "We are capable of so much more. We are capable of love, of understanding, of growth. We can choose to be better." In that moment, the ship pulsed with a warmth that enveloped them like a gentle embrace. The energy shifted from intimidating to nurturing, and Ilara felt a connection to the ship deepen. It was no longer just an alien technology, it was a partner, a teacher, a guide. But as their connection grew, the sound of military boots echoed ominously from outside the ship. Ilara knew they were running out of time. The urgency of the moment pressed down on her, but she refused to let fear dictate their fate. She turned to her team, her eyes fierce with determination. "We can't let them take this from us. We need to make them understand what we found here." Marcus hesitated, but the fire in Ilara's gaze ignited something within him. He could see the truth reflected in her eyes, and the skepticism that had held him back began to melt away. "All right," he said, his voice steady, "let's show them." Together, they reached out to the ship, pouring their collective emotions into the vessel. The energy surged, and the ship responded, projecting a powerful wave of light that enveloped them. The holographic images shifted once more, this time revealing scenes of hope and potential, a future where humanity embraced its compassion and understanding, where differences were celebrated rather than feared. As the military approached, the ship's energy flared, creating a barrier of light that pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with the hearts of Ilara and her team. They stood united, a testament to the strength of human connection against the backdrop of fear and uncertainty. The soldiers froze, their eyes wide with disbelief. They could see the brilliance emanating from the ship, the profound beauty of the moment unfolding before them. For a brief instant, the lines between fear and wonder blurred, and they felt the pull of something greater. "Stand down!" a voice shouted, echoing through the chamber. But Ilara could sense the hesitation in the soldiers, the flicker of curiosity battling against their training to contain the unknown. "This is not a threat," Ilara called out, her voice ringing with conviction. "This is a chance for all of us, a chance to evolve, to grow, to connect with something beyond ourselves." In that moment, the ship responded, projecting a series of images that showcased the best of humanity. The soldiers watched as images of compassion, unity, and creativity unfolded before them. They began to understand that this was not just an alien technology. It was a reflection of their own potential. As the light enveloped them, a hush fell over the chamber. Time seemed to stand still as the ship resonated with the emotions of everyone present, scientists, soldiers, and the very essence of the universe itself. The realization swept through them like a wave, washing away the fear that had clouded their hearts. Ilara felt the connection deepen, a bond that transcended the barriers of species and understanding. She understood that they were all part of a larger tapestry, woven together by the threads of compassion and empathy. The ship was not just awakening, it was inviting them into a new era, one where humanity embraced its true nature. With a final surge of energy, the ship pulsed brightly, casting a warm glow that illuminated the faces of everyone present. The light enveloped them, merging their spirits with the ancient wisdom contained within the ship. Ilara felt a profound understanding blossom within her, a realization that their journey was just beginning. As the light faded, they stood together in the chamber, forever changed by the experience. The soldiers lowered their weapons, their eyes reflecting a newfound understanding. Ilara looked around at her team, her heart swelling with pride. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, united by a shared vision of hope. Outside, the world awaited their return, poised at the brink of a new chapter in human history. The ship had awakened something deep within them, a call to embrace the unknown and to forge connections that transcend fear. Ilara knew that the discovery beneath the ice was not just a ship. It was an awakening, a mirror reflecting the deepest potential of humanity. Together, they would step into the unknown, ready to embrace the future that awaited them.